Hola mi gente, Grandpachilo here, today bringing you a deck list based around the strongest Digimon card ever printed for the Digimon card game. You guessed it, it's Jijimon and his big hairy feet. Digimon's deck relies a lot on Tamers, flooding the board, using effects like Quartzmon and Mega Gargamon Ace to control the board, and just be as annoying as possible while you mount up a big board to resist your opponent and swarm them down. So, without further ado, let's get started. For our Digi-Eggs, we're running 4 copies of BT11 Tamers. His effect is your turn once per turn. When you play a green Tamer, draw 1. We will be playing a lot of green Tamers to the field, so this will be triggering multiple times, especially when you have multiples of these on the board, when you can flood the board with Mini Tachikawa. So we are running 4 of the Tamers, but we are also running a 5th egg, which is the ST17 Gummimon. His effect is when attacking once per turn. If you have green Tamer, draw 1. This one is similar in regards to depending on a green Tamer, but it's when attacking, and usually we want to draw before we attack. So we are running 4 Tamers and 1 Gummy. And the total price so far for the Digi-Eggs are $8.29. For our rookies, we're running 4 copies of the ST17 Terriermon. His effect is main once per turn. You may play 1 green Tamer card or 1 level 3 Digimon card with Lopmon in its name from your hand, with the play cost reduced by 2. And the inherited effect is all turns while this Digimon is suspended, it gets plus 1000 DP. We mainly use this to play out our Tamers at a reduced cost and set up our board. But we do run a few Lopmon, so if need be, we can also play out a Lopmon for essentially 1 cost. So this is the main rookie of the deck. And then we also run 3 copies of the EX2 Terriermon. He reads your turn once per turn. When you play a green Tamer, gain 1 memory, and also has the inherited effect of your turn once per turn. When an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, the Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. You'll see a trend regarding effects with Tamers either gaining memory or gaining DP. It's kind of a theme for the deck. So next up, for our other rookie, we are running 2 copies of Lopmon from the ST17. His effect is main once per turn. One of your Digimon gains Alliance for the turn, and also the inherited effect of all turns while this Digimon is suspended, it gets plus 1000 DP. Considering we run Mega Gargamon, which can swing twice, we can give Alliance to him to swing essentially 4 checks. And then we can also do, if we play Lopmon with another Digimon with the effect of Jijimon, we can give the Digimon, the Digimon played by Jijimon, Rush with Panyamon, then use Lopmon to give that Digimon Alliance, and then swing for 2 checks with Rush. So we are running 2 copies of this because it is situational, but it does come up, and it's very good little tech for the deck. And then finally, for our last rookie, we're running 2 copies of Pummumon from BT9. He reads all turns. Players can't play Digimon by effects. I know this kind of contradicts mainly Digimon's effect and 1 or 2 cards in deck, but we do need this for certain matchups such as Leviamon, Numemon, and stuff like that, which when they play Digimon by effects, it can really harm our board. So essentially, you can either swing with Gigi, reveal, play this out alongside another Digimon, and then you did your effect. You have your 2 extra Digis or 3 Digis, and then your opponent can play Digimon by effects. Or you can, after doing your little combos, slam it down so that you permitted your opponent from playing Digimon by effects. Or if you did your Mimi Tachikawa shenanigans and you have it in the back, tap your Mimi and promote it after you're done with your turn. With your turn, please. So that's our rookie lineup. We are running 11 rookies, and the price so far comes up to $12.61. The main driver price here is the ST17 Terriermon. I believe they are close to $2 each, so that's the main spike there. But it's now $12.61. For our champions, we are running 4 copies of Ninjamon from BT11. I've had multiple opponents just surprised that this card even exists, and that the inherited effect is pretty good in this deck. He is a vanilla with an inherited effect of your turn once per turn. When you play a Tamer, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Considering we play a large amount of Tamers, we can easily use this effect to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, maybe problematic Digimon on their side of the board. And then you can either swing over it, or just kind of control the board with Quartz or Mega Gargamon Ace. But aside from that, this card is really, really good in this deck, so I'm running 4. Next up, we run also 4 copies of Togemon from BT15. His effect is your turn once per turn. When you would play a green Tamer card from your hand by suspending one of your green Digimon, reduce the play cost by 3. And the inherited effect is your turn once per turn. When this Digimon would Digivolve, if you have a green Tamer, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. So essentially, similar to the Terriermon from the ST17, we use this card to cheat out our Tamers. Taiga, for example, goes down for free. Mimi goes down for 1. And we have the added bonus of the inherited effect of reducing our Digivolution cost to a level 6, essentially, by 1. And considering we also run Taiga, and the training, agility trainings, we can reduce, essentially, if you do training plus the Togemon effect, you got essentially a level 6 for free, which would be the GG. Or if you tap your Taigas, that would be a similar situation where you would be able to Digivolve for free. So an extra push to Digivolution cost reduction with the inherit. And lastly, for our last champion, we're running 1 Arbomon from BT6. I do not like Beetlemon. I have seen people running Beetlemon, but that is a deck oriented towards. I've seen people playing JP, the hybrid tamer. I don't like JP. I don't like Beetlemon. I like them in their separate decks, which would be green hybrid. But for this Jijimon deck, it does not make sense to run either JP or Beetle. So we are running 1 Arbor. It's just a vanilla hybrid, but it does its job. We run Tamers. We can go hybrid for game, or if we need it in a pinch, we can Digivolve it to go up on our stack. But that would be all the champions. We are running 9 champions, and the total cost of the deck goes up to 13.59 cents. These are relatively cheap cards. For our ultimates, we're running 4 copies of Panyamon from BT11. This is the most important level 5 in the deck. His effect, he is also treated as having Leomon and name. We don't care about that in this deck. His other effect, when Digivolving, reads, you may play 1 green or blue Tamer card with a play cost 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. Again, another tool to cheat out our Tamers. And he has the powerful inherited effect of your turn once per turn. When you play another Digimon by an effect, one of your Digimon gains rush for the turn. So you can use this with the effect of Jijimon to essentially swing, play out bodies, and give one of them rush. And even if you didn't Digivolve into Jijimon, you went up to your other level 6. If you have the double Typhoon, which we will talk about later in the video, on the board, you can use the double Typhoon to play out a Terriermon or Lopmon, and then with the Panyamon effect of the inherited effect, give it rush. So essentially, you get a free attack with your newly played Terriermon or Lopmon. So this is the main driver of shenanigans in the deck. Essentially, cheat out your Tamers, give rush. That's it. Next up, we are running 2 copies of Mamemon from BT11. This is our little boy. He is amazing at searching, on play, and when Digivolving. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. You may play 1 Tamer card with a play cost of 4 or less among them without paying the cost, and then place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So you can essentially look at your top 5 cards, play out a Tamer, and then if you like what you see, put them all at the top at the order you choose, so you can just manipulate the top of your deck. And on top of that, he has the inherited effect of your turn once per turn. When you play another Digimon by an effect, one of your Digimon gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. So most of the time we will be going into Panya and just using the Mamamon essentially played out by Digimon's effect, or if we are in a pinch we can even play it out on the board. Let's say our opponent gave us 3 memory or 4, we can hardcast this from our hand and then just search, play out cheat out a Tamer with his effect, and then place the rest at the top or bottom so that you can essentially unbrick the top of your deck. And then this is a black card, but we are running it because the Digivolve is on top of a level 4 black and a level 4 green, so we can run this in our deck without any issue, and all of our level 6s Digivolve on top of green or black, so it doesn't harm the deck in any way. And lastly, we're running 2 copies of Lilymon Ace. It is an ace card, meaning it has a counter effect. It has the Blast Digivolve, which you can essentially, if you're attacked during counter timing, you can Digivolve this card on top of one of your Digimon. It has the on play, and when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then you may return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with 5,000 DP or less to the bottom of the deck. This card is especially good versus decks like Numemon and stuff like that, which have little bodies on the board, but they have powerful effects. Lilymon just says no, go to the bottom, no on deletions, no effects. But the Lilymon Ace does have overflow -3, so keep a lookout on that. But she's a play cost 4, meaning our Digimon lets us play Digimon up to play cost 10 or less in total. So essentially we can play Lilymon and 2 rookies, or Lilymon and a champion, which essentially gives us a more flexible option to play out stuff on the board and basically cheat out her on play by playing her for free. And these 3 sets of cards bring up the deck price to $19.91. I think the Mamamon is like $1 each, and the Lilymon is around that price also. So that's the main driver of the value, but that's the price. For our Megas, we are running 4 copies of the one, the only Jijimon from BT11. He is the strongest card in the game. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Just trust me. Source, trust me, bro. I am the source of knowledge. He reads, when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 Tamer card among them without paying the cost, and then place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Essentially, you reveal the top 3, play out a Tamer. If no Tamer, then just put back the cards in any order you want. This is sometimes especially good with if you combo it with Mamamon, because Mamamon lets you search out 5. If you reveal 2 Tamers, just play out 1 with Mamamon, and then organize the top of your deck to then Digimon into Jijimon and play out the other one for free. But essentially, you get to play out a Tamer for free. And then when attacking once per turn, flood the board. That's it, flood the board. It reads, for each green or black Tamer you have in play, reveal 1 card from the top of your deck. You may play any number of green or black Digimon cards whose total play costs add up to 10 or less among them without paying the cost, and then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So essentially, we will have a lot of Tamers on the board in this deck. And then for when attacking, essentially, for each one reveal a card. We make sure that what we want to play in total, you sum the play cost of the Digimon revealed that you want to play, make sure they are 10 or less, and then you get to play out everything for free. We are running 2 different ace cards which are both below 10 cost, which have powerful effects. And also we can give our bodies rush with the Panyamon Inherit. So it's essentially go for aggro, flood the board, do all of your effects, and then essentially you can even trigger multiple instances of Jijimon in a single turn. Let's say you could have multiple Taigas on board, you could have trainings on board, and then you just have a massive turn with 2-3 Digimon swinging, flooding the board entirely, and then setting up a quartz, which essentially would go down almost for free. Or if you have hidden potential, it would just blast your memory upwards. So yeah, the when attacking, as I said, is essentially once per turn, flood the board. And next up we have 2 copies of Mega Gargamon Ace. He is an ace, and as I mentioned, he has the Blast Digivolve effect and counter timing. He also has blocker and reboot, and has the when digivolving effect, suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then 2 of their Digimon or Tamers can't unsuspend or digivolve until the end of their turn. This is especially strong. Like, having your opponent not be able to digivolve is so strong in this game, and then they can't even unsuspend. You can even switch out the target. You can suspend to target 2 Digimon or Tamers, and then for the other effects you can select 2 of the Digimon or Tamers that weren't the ones suspended. You can divide those 2 effects. And then you also have the when digivolving and the end of attack once per turn. You may unsuspend this Digimon. It's especially good because we can essentially play out for free with Jijimon, give it Rush with Pania, and even give it Alliance with Lopmon if we have it, to then do Swing, Alliance, Unsuspend, Swing, and then essentially you just go for a lot of aggression. He is also a blocker with Reboot, so even if you attack, you'll be able to unsuspend and have a blocker. And if you played out a level 5 Digimon with Jijimon and then passed the turn, let's say you didn't have any other play, next turn when your opponent goes to attack, just blast Digivolve counter timing in the level 5 that you played, and then just lock your opponent's board down. Like, Mega Gargamon Ace is so oppressive sometimes. Like, this card is so good. And then lastly, for our last Mega level Digimon, we are running 2 copies of Quartzmon from BT12. Everybody knows Quartzmon is a menace. He reads, when Digivolving, suspend all other Digimon and all Tamers. Then for every 2 suspended Digimon and or Tamers, gain 1 memory. This will basically suspend our Tamers and lock our Tamers down. But Quartzmon is a game finisher or board control tool. So essentially, if Quartzmon came to the battlefield, you already did all of your effects, you already used all your Tamers, you don't care too much about that. And there are some times that you can do your combo, do Jijimon Swing, and then play out, let's say, in a Mega Gargamon Ace to the field, give it Rush, and then you play it on another body, and then you can go into Quartz on top, either just Digivolving on top of it, or using Hidden Potential to discount it. Either way, you'll have a lot of Digivolution cost reduction, but you'll be able to basically suspend everything, gain back a bunch of memory, and then swing. And most of the time with this deck, you'll be able to trash upwards of 2-3 cards from your opponent's security with the second effect. The second effect reads, when attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, then trash the top card of your opponent's security stack for every 5 suspended Digimon and or Tamers. I have had games where I just build up a massive board and then trash 3 cards in a single swing, then go for game, or even I had a game which was, frankly, it was mind-blowing, but it was 4 trashes with the Quartzmon effect and then go for game. Quartzmon is just a menace, especially with the flood potential that you have in this deck, where you can just set up a lot of Tamers and your board, a lot of Digimon, and then use Quartzmon effect to essentially use all those resources to trash your opponent's security. So Quartzmon is definitely a game finisher, a very important tool in this deck. I highly recommend not changing this card in the deck, but he is a little pricey at the moment for some people, so depends on your budget. Now for these cards, it brings up the price to $63.45. The main driver of this price, again, as I mentioned, is Quartzmon. I believe they are like $18, $20 at the moment each. And the 2 Mega Gargmon, which are $5 at the moment, which kind of drive the price of the deck up. That's our deck price so far. Next up for Tamers, we're running 4 copies of Mimi Tachikawa from BT1. I've gone over Mimi before, but she reads start of your turn. If you have 2 or less memory, set your memory to 3. And main, if you have a level 5 or higher green Digimon in play, you can suspend this Tamer to hatch 1 Digi-Egg card to an empty space in your breeding area, or move 1 level 3 or higher Digimon from your breeding area to your battle area. Essentially, we play out a lot of Tamers in this deck. We'll have multiple Mimis on the field most of the time, which essentially you have a level 5 or higher, suspend your Mimi, hatch. You can suspend another Mimi and then let's say you Digivolve into a rookie and back, suspend the Mimi and then promote that same Digi-Egg that you raise. And since it didn't get played, it got promoted directly from the breeding area. It essentially has pseudo rush. It doesn't have any stun effect, meaning it can't attack. You'll be able to attack with those Digimon instantly, which can sometimes be the game finishing move, or just bring out a floodgate like a Pomon, or just be annoying. We are running for this card. This card is super important in this deck. And for the other Tamers, we're running 4 copies of BT11 Taiga. It reads your turn, all of your Digimon get plus 1000 DP, and your turn when one of your green Digimon would Digivolve into a level 5 or a higher card. By suspending this Tamer, reduce its evolution cost by 1. So this gives us a blanket effect of 1000 DP for all of our Digimon, which can help in some situations. Let's say you have multiple Taigas. If you hit Crimson Blaze on the field or something on the security or something similar, Taiga can essentially protect your Digimon by boosting their DP higher than 6000 for the Crimson Blaze effect. And on top of giving us the advantage of higher DP, and if we stack multiple Taigas, we'll have plus 4000 DP for a blanket to all our board. It reads your turn. You can essentially reduce any Digivolution cost if the Digimon would Digivolve into a level 5 or higher. This is especially good because you can go into your level 5s for 2 costs. If you combine it with the training, you can do it for free. If you have multiple Taigas, you essentially cheat out your stack by reducing Digivolution costs. This card is so good. It only costs 3, so you can play it out for 1 with the Terriermon and for free with the Togemon. So keep in mind, our goal is to flood the field with Tamers so we can abuse their effects and abuse other cards' effect that depends on Tamers. These 8 cards together bring up the price to $89.25. The main driver of the price here is Mimi Tachikawa. I believe each copy of her is $4 or $5 at the moment, which are the reprint booster ones. But it does raise the price a little bit. Our deck price is $89.25 so far. Lastly, for our option cards, we are running 3 copies of Agility Training Promos. Reads the effect of main, reveal 2 cards from the top of your deck. Add 1 green card among them to the hand, then return the rest to the bottom of the deck in any order. Then place this card in the battle area. And the main delay effect, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a green Digimon card in your hand for its evolution cost. And when it would Digivolve by this effect, reduce the cost by 2. So essentially, this gives us search power and Digivolution cost reduction, which we can stack with our Taigas or our Togemons. This is especially good in this deck where you can combo with the Taiga and the Togemon. We do lack a bit of search in this deck because it is not a tribal deck, but the agility training helps us fill in those gaps, and alongside the other option, which would be 2 copies of Double Typhoon from the ST17 deck, which reads main, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 green Digimon card and 1 such Tamer card among them to the hand. and return the rest to the bottom of the deck. Then place this card in the battle area, and main delay, you may play one Terriermon or Lopmon from your hand without paying the cost. Our rookie base is almost all Terriermon or Lopmon, so we can trigger the delay whenever we want, essentially, if we have it on the board. And it also helps fill out the searching potential gaps that the deck has, which this card essentially grabs you 2 pieces, which would be a green Digimon and a green Tamer. And also delay lets you play out a rookie, which is really good. And it has the amazing security effect of security. Suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon, then place this card in the battle area. Suspending 2 of your opponent's Digimon is really strong. And then you also get to place it in the battle area, so you can next turn use a delay to play out a Terriermon or Lopmon from hand without paying. Essentially, the 3 agility trainings and the 2 double typhoons are our main option drivers in the deck, because they round out our search potential and also give us some extra effects that are really good. And lastly, for our last option, as I mentioned before, it's Hidden Potential Discovered, which is limited to 1 copy per deck. This card is very strong, hence why it got nerfed. It reads main for the turn. When one of your green Digimon would next Digivolve, by suspending one of your Digimon, reduce the Digivolution cost by 5. It's essentially a Digisorption effect in an option card which costs 0. And then you can use it for any Digimon that's green, which is really strong, especially if you use this to go into your Quartzmon. Essentially, you Digivolve for 1, which you can then reduce that 1 with one of your Taigas or your Togemon. And then essentially you get a free Quartz or a 1 cost Quartz Digivolution. Then Quartz in itself gains you memory back, so you'd have a net memory gain from the Digivolution. And then this card, not only is it strong when you hit it in security, you add it to hand, so you get to next turn clap back at your opponent. So this is our option lineup spread. It's essentially running out search potential, giving us Digivolution cost reductions, and letting us do other effects like playing out our rookies and security effects of suspending Digimon. These options drive the price to $120 with 8 cents. The main driver of the cost here is the agility trainings, which right now are like $10 each. Trainings are really expensive at the moment, but we are confirmed getting reprints in the, I believe it's the ST18 and ST19 star decks, which are the ones related to Digimon Liberator. Also, if you don't know what Digimon Liberator is, check it out. It's a webcomic that released recently from Bandai. It's really good. It's at least entertaining. And we are getting reprints for each one of the training colors in those decks. But for now, we are limited to running this version of the card, and it's running for $10 each. So keep that in mind, and whatever you can manage with your budget. Now, the total price of the deck for a normal rarity deck comes up to $120.08. But if you want to ramp up your rarity to a high rarity version using these alternate cards and the ratios I mentioned, it would drive the price up to $257.03. If you want to go for budget style, you could just go get 4 copies of Jijimon, which are the Jijimon alternate art. It is $3 each, and then you can get a Hidden Potential Discovered alternate art, which I think is like $2, maybe $5, but I think it's $2. Shouldn't cost too much, which it would essentially just be like a $15 price increase with just the Digimons and the Hidden Potential Discovered. But if you want the entire lineup of cards at the ratios I provided, it would bring up the price at $257.03. But we also have options for our budget friends. Budget deck techs with healthy decks and healthy wallets. Essentially remove the trainings, remove the Gargamon Aces and the Quartzmons. This really hurts. Like Quartzmon, my Gargamon Ace, and the agility trainings are so good in this deck. But if your wallet is pretty tight, remove these and add 3 copies of Green Memory Boost, which I think right now are like $1 each, around that price. Add 2 copies of Rust Tyrannomon, which lets you Digivolve with a reduced cost for each Tamer you have. So you can sometimes Evo for free. And then when you delete an opponent's Digimon in battle, also suspend the Digimon, so you can go for essentially 2 checks. 2 body removals, or remove a body and then check a security. And replace the Quartzmons with Examon. Examon is not nearly as good as Quartzmon, but it is a cheap option you could use. He has the on-plane with Digivolving effect. We don't care about the DNA Digivolution, we just care about the rest of his effects. He reads on-plane with Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and that Digimon doesn't unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase, which you can use to kind of lock down a problematic Digimon. And all turns, when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, you may activate one of the effects below, which would be to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, or unsuspend one of your Digimon, which you can use if it's still your turn when you Digivolve. You can unsuspend to maybe go for game, or just unsuspend to swing over something, or you can just suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if you have a body that can attack, you can swing over it. Remember that our Taigas will give us a blanket DP boost on the board, so we can most of the time run over different bodies on the board. But aside from that, these are the techs I would recommend. These cards drastically lower the price of the deck to $54.69, which is amazing budget value considering our initial cost, which was $120. The agility trainings to Green Memory Boost hurt a bit, but not as much as the Quartzmon and Mega Gargamon Ace switches. If you can get your Quartzmons, that card is super good in this deck. But if not, if your budget doesn't allow it, switch out these cards. You'll be relatively fine. Now, that is the deck list. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified when new videos come up. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video, any recommendations you have for future videos and or content creation. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.